We are ready. Okay, welcome back to my students. This is the third session for our classes in graphic design Ingles 7 from Universidad Columbia today on the 10th of May 2025. So we are going just to start with the last part. So when we were just stopping the second session, we have been talking about what was the design process and how important were the technical words that we needed to use specifically when we are going to use the design, plus the specifications when we start a dialogue to your client, how important and challenging it will be that you have a specific vocabulary or a specific questionnaire that you can go asking to your client according to the only 10 to 15 or 20 minutes that you may have with your client who is coming for a specific job. And that's why the asking question it's really relevant and you need to get ready your questionnaire. Okay, so we have been going through the specific content, and I just want to share again one more time what was our document so that you can see and rewind again what was the topic about. Let me see. Here it was, the design process. When you see it, you tell me where you are. Okay. Ready. So participants can see now what is the document. So here we are, like we talked before, how relevant it is to have specifications about your documentation. But actually, I was just going very quickly because in such a time, so were probably some of the students that didn't arrive here. But remember, into what it was part of the stages of the design process, we needed to have a kind of circle oval form where you go from here to there, like asking, imagine, planning, creating, improving. But in order to do well, they go through specific considerations that they consider also in the designing process, that it could be for products that you need to go to the manufacturing, selling, purchase, cost, transport, disposal of the product at the end. And then there were like specific steps or stages that you go when you designed also your products, like design brief. And before the design brief, we go on the asking, which is really very important. Remember that we don't have, and we cannot make our client waste time on a second dialogue. If possible, you needed to have all the most important questions on the only very first question, like introduction or meeting you go to. Try to be really very efficient on that first meeting. And then you go on the design brief, then you go on the analysis of everything that has to do with the product, with the problem, with the situation. You can go on a research, then you go on the specifications, what could be the solution for the product. Then you go on the problem solving. And after you have everything solved on your ideas, then you go on the presentation of your product with your PowerPoint. It could be even with your examples. And then you can go on a specific development or improvements when it's necessary. You can also go on the testing, because that's going to be something that it will be so relevant that it worked, the thing worked. And then you have the post-production design feedback, Then you have the implementation, then you have the evaluation and conclusion. And finally, they again will go on a redesign. So these are normal processes in the design process. Of course, when that's different a little when you have to create a product, because here it says a product design. So you need to go the research, the concept, the design, the development, and the design documentation. And when you have a product, you need to have a prototype. And then you have an engineering, which is the production and the development, like they have to do the thing, and then they go on the production. So it's a little more different. That's why I gave you an example of, as in the book, they gave us the idea of preparing like a shoe, but they gave us the process of a shoemaking. But it's good for us in the idea that we could create shoes for later. But here we have the different order that the person went through. But the most important in your design process will be the first meeting. The first meeting is where you needed to get all your knowledge on the specific questions that you wanted to go through. All right, so let me see. Remember that we got here, we have the research, we have also made a storyboard to the idea, we have the range plan, that's very important, how long will it take, when it will happen, and a specification. Then you have the design brief, then you have the initial ideas, then you have the laid out outsole, the last development, the heel development, the outsole development. Maybe you have to create your cut, which is going to be the example, the pattern cutting, the brief in again, the samples or the changes, amendments, the color combinations, like materials combinations, and then your final samples and your following season. So that's why it's so important that in a designing process or in a product designing process, you go through very easily and do not come with idea that, oh, what is better if I do this or that? You need to have a process. You need to go through specifications and you need to know where exactly you are. And here I have like little phases with that you needed to go specifically. So in plan number 1, you do the research, the observation, the understanding, and the analyzing. All right, so they call it the planning phase. Usually designers also are members, are very important part of there. And then in this other area, the second phase, you have the designing. In here, you use cases, you have business processes, maybe wine fryers, framework, or design concepts. So you have the concept phase. That's what they call. And sorry, but I just tried to enlarge the more I could about the material because it was very little picture. That's why you just don't see it so well. But no matter. The idea is that on this phase, we also have the development team. And in development team, sometimes we have the designers also to help us. Then in the third part, you have the development. You have the design handover, the communicative department, or the monitoring, or the visual design. This is what they call the development phase. And here you see again how the development team is working, or the project managers or the product managers. So we know that designers are also there working. And then you have the phase number 4, that is like the deploy. Usability testing, verification, design quality check, and approval. So that's what they call it, the deployment phase, where we have probably the ending or the re-engineering for the finals and selling, or the venues, or like we have the different like revenues, which mean the profitable section that you sell or you get the incoming, and they prepare again for the new seasons. So in all of these are important, the development team, and designers mostly are in the development team. All right, so this is like the part that I needed to share with you about the design process that it took for us in this class. Okay, but as any task, you have homework. And in this section, I will show you now what is the task, because we have very little time. And there is a homework that you could see now with me. See that you're going to see it on the screen, that there are some specific words that we were mentioning today. And these are some of the important words for all of us, because we see meet with clients, then you see samples received or amendments, the design brief, the final sample, research. All of these vocabularies have definition, but this is the time that you needed to tell me, okay, as a graphic designer, in the case that I have to develop a product, I might start for this one, so you need to pull your own personal individual steps where you are going to start on the design process. Okay, so you need to tell me, like writing 1, 2, 3, 4, where I will start. You will start, all right? Okay, the next topic, it says here that you need to match the pictures with the steps in the process of design that these pictures will represent, right? So for example, storyboarding, so maybe when do you do, all right? Or when do you write all the information? Maybe you write down this on the concept development, all right? Or in one of the processes that you have done. Where do you choose the different colors or combinations? Okay, you tell me later. Where, for example, you have already the sample and you create an idea of what would be the process, actually the product like. And then there is a definition. Here, for example, what could be the initial ideas? What's the idea of initial ideas? We look for here, reading the different options that you have down here, and then you just write down, all right, initial ideas will mean that I read the number 2, so it's going to be number 2. I don't say that it's true. You just need to read it in order to answer, because it's your task. And then you can have the same ideas, but with different vocabulary, because you have, again, here, final sample, colorway, material combinations, brief in, samples received or amendments, pattern cutting, specifications, and following seasons are cut. So all of these have the own definitions, all right? So you will need to complete that. Okay, so that's the most I can ask from you in doing this section of the homework. And now, as we are having a little time yet, there's going to be an extra work that I wanted you to consider. Remember that you have I will just need to close this because I won't use this anymore for today. And I needed to open some other spaces that are important. Okay, what is going to be the new task that you will have? Remember that I told you that you needed to prepare for an oral presentation of a packaging, a product that is going to be like you're presenting like orally a package, correct? So I want you to think about that. What could be a packaging that you would like to talk to me about? It could be a box of chocolates. It could be like a cage that is like a cajita where you put the perfumes, or like anything that you would think it's better to express your knowledge about how to build a package, all right? So there were some examples I had, and I was preparing that for you, but now let me just look for one or a presentation that I had before in a minute, because it just closed from, okay, here it is. I like it, this one, and I wanted you to see it because it was interesting. Hopefully it will open easily now. Give me just a second because it's somewhere else. All right, let me see where it is now. Okay, Mr. Carlos Leon is arriving now. Well, just give me a minute because I think I have it. Yes, it is here. Well, I will show to you now the two examples I like it. One was an example of a student who didn't bring the package, but the person had the picture on the presentation. So I will use that first. Okay, hopefully it is here and I can show it to you. Give me a second, please, because it was open as, okay, yes, a second, because hopefully it is, okay, here. All right. We're going to read a presentation of a student who talked about the Kit Kat packaging. Yes, I have this as an example. It was from like another semester. I don't have the name anymore, but probably it was from last semester. So let's read it. Packaging or representation. The packaging of Kit Kat is a crucial element in protecting and promoting this iconic chocolate. The packaging is primarily used to safeguard the chocolate bars during transportation and storage, ensuring they arrive in perfect condition for customers. Additionally, it plays a vital role in brand identity and recognition. All right, so the person is describing which product is this. And then goes on the size, yes, goes on the specifications, and then about the material, the packaging, the strengths it has, maybe the product process it goes through, and then like promoting what was the idea of it. So this is the package the students talk about. All right, so remember that we will have like 3 to 5 minutes, at the most 5 minutes, to talk about your packet. So you need to be really very sure on what are you going to talk or say. All right, then I have another example. Consider, please, that you need to know the size, maybe the material, the texture, the coloring, maybe the designing, maybe the way it was made, the folding, and anything and everything that you could say about the package, all right? Then I have another presentation that it was very interesting and I want to share with you, because it was made by a student. And let me see where it is now because I don't see it. Hopefully it is here. Let me see because I sometimes don't see everything. Okay, let me close this screen because the more screen I have open, the less I can share. All right, sorry for a while. Give me just a second to close some of my spaces here. Okay, let me see if I close this section. Maybe we could see the other material. I hope that I could see it now. Yes, finally I can see Here is, this was a situation that the student didn't put the picture on the presentation because the student brought the, the material in class, all right? So it was Victoria Benitez, and she chose this, the packaging of this album from one of her favorite K-pop bands, all right? So she says, it covers a thick plastic where inside is the album with the photos and the CD. The album inside is made of a very light illustration paper where you can see all of the pictures, all right? So we need to be a little more descriptive here. What kind of paper is it? What size, or what is like, how heavy is the paper? What kind of pictures can we see? Pictures of the singers maybe? Or how many pages that it have, or is it only the cover? Be a little more descriptive. Then it contains a special and random content that is really good for the experience. Okay, what kind of content? What is special from it? What is the random thing? Maybe images, maybe pictures like photographs, or maybe like stickers. All right, please try to use more specific vocabulary because you are going to sell a package. Now, the stickers come, okay, now she's talking about stickers here. The stickers come on a special paper. What kind of paper? What makes the paper special? All right, where they are already cut out and it is only necessary to tear them off and use them. All right, so just to stick them off. Now the postcard is, so at the end she's talking about like stickers of, probably they are made of a special paper but is glued. All right, the postcard is in a cardboard of 200 grams more or less. Okay, we are again going like more or less, which means like we need to know the postcard. So there was a postcard inside, all right? Or how many postcards maybe it had. So we needed to have specifications, like 10 different postcards of the singers in different activities, or 2 different postcard of every singer, you know, so they have 5 singers, so you have 10 postcards, all right? So then they have a triptych, which where the lyrics of the songs are written, and it is on a cardboard of 150 to 200 grams, and the photo card is really thick, like a cardboard of 300 grams. Okay, so then she's telling that the photo cards have a certainly amount of grams, but then there was another kind of a thicker cardboard. Maybe the cardboard was the protector, and the total package was made of that cardboard, all right? So we needed to see the size, and also we needed to know if it's like a square form or like what is the structure and the form or shape it has, all right? So, and then the person says something personal, like, I really like the packaging as a graphic designer because it gives you this beautiful experience of unboxing a package, all right? So it's fine, your experience, but you always think like being a graphic designer will be challenging for you to create something that it will be like calling, like in this case, young people attentions, and that they will be really interested in opening a box like this, because it might have all the specifications like what kids of that age would like, you know. So what do kids like at that age? For like young people, they like pictures, photos, or they like stickers, or they like to see the lyrics, you know. But try to be more specifically according to who is your client, not necessarily you being as a client. All right. Okay, so that is the idea. Of course, if you prepare something like this, you can use a PowerPoint and you can have the picture of your package that you want to talk about, or you can bring your package also to talk about. What's the most important here is speaking and using a specific vocabulary that has to do with graphic designers. That is the objective of all of these presentations. All right. Next thing that we are expecting is that if you still have some questions related to our different topics, that in this moment we are having the application letters that we need to consider, that most of actually I needed just to bring a little while, and give me a second because I will bring the cell phone and I have it just very close from me here. I wanted for you to know that there were some specific things that I wrote for you into the WhatsApp group, because we are not having the possibility to look inside of the platform in the virtual class now. But please consider that there were some necessary information that you need to change. Look again into your CVs, because CVs needed to be printed out for your formal, how can we say, job interview. For that's next Saturday. I wanted for you to get ready, already printed your CVs, but I will tell you which were the most normal difficulties that students had on the presentation of the documents. Give me just some minutes because I still have 9 minutes to finish. Well, I tell you now. Remember, kids, the information that you write down about yourself, it needs to come not only as the, I will just close this, not only as the, let's suppose you are bringing and prepare like about me. In the about me is really your professional profile. That's why you write down a professional profile that is not less than 5 to 6 important sentences about your personal experience as a professional. This is nothing to do with you as only because you are nice or you are good. I want for you to think professionally in this moment, all right? And I want you to see yourself as working as a graphic designer. If you don't have as much experience as a graphic designer, put at least that you have gone into internship or you have gone into practice, that you are learning something, but at least there should be a part of the referential part where we can talk about your little experience about graphic design. All right. Then the other part that was important, when you do you put the dates, like your addresses, your email address. Maybe you needed to also include your specific sites where I can see about you, that your work exists, and what are the things that you have already prepared in advance. Then the third thing that is important, that you have your professional documentation. This is true. You need to tell me about your high school. Where did you finish high school? What was your specialty when you graduated from the school? What year was it? And of course, if the institution where you are going to work, they ask you for your certification, you will need to have it. You need to have it ready, photocopied, printed, and also like sealed by the Ministry of Education, and you need to have it like also a copy with the attorney, or like what they call visado sellado y fotocopiado autenticado. So the most important is your high school and then your actual year of studies at university. Don't forget to mention that you are at the university and Universidad Colombia del Paraguay, that you have studied for 3 years. Now this is for your 4th year, and that you will graduate next year. So it's like, try to put it there. Then there should be other studies, not only those important, but the one that, of course, in 4 years of study, you needed to already have attended to seminars or webinars or like training courses that it help you to develop yourself as a future professional. Develop yourself, because otherwise we are like not using properly your time in preparing for you as a professional. You should be able to study more than not only high school or university. You need to do something else that will make you different from the other people, or that will have the valor agregado. Okay, so after there, don't forget that there shouldn't be any error in the orthographic area. So orthography, it's really necessary. Then I wanted for you to take a look again that most of the CVs were not as so infographic. I want you to tell me infographic knowledge, like if you know how to use the InDesign, write down or put the InDesign logo and tell me what's the average of knowledge you have from 0 to 100. Use your own schema about how would you like people to read better your CVs. Of course, when we talk about InDesign, or you want to talk to me about Adobe or any others like Photoshopping or things, you need to also put that. And it's the same in the average of graduating, the knowledge about languages or experience or skills, that or general skills. Then I also wanted for you to have your personal references. Don't forget to put personal references. And then the name, the last name, and the phone numbers. And don't forget also to mention in your working experiences, where you worked, how long you worked there, and a phone contact, and what were the different things that you performed there, because those are your specific knowledge, where we can see what is the knowledge you brought from other places and that you can keep applying in the new place. All right, so that is the general background in working experience. Okay, so at the end, we have to also describe professionally what you want to develop for the future. And think about the different questions we were telling you on the first contact we had today. All right, that is one task. So everybody just needed to go change your CVs according to what we have talked. I have already shared with you some examples, but at least do the necessary changes that you found. Consider that the most important here is the information, how you develop. Use the spaces necessarily. Do not waste or do not leave lab empty spaces, but complete where are necessary, and use appropriate picture of yourself, a good picture, not like calling more your attention about your picture, but not on the content, so that's important. Then another thing that we have as a task now is finishing up the homework about the design process that we went through just today. And the new task that was already assigned in virtual class, but probably you could see it later, it is the packaging presentation, the oral presentation about a packaging. Please prepare your oral presentation correctly, use a PowerPoint, or also bring the example in class to present, not this class, but the next class. But get it ready or upload your presentation already on the platform. The oral presentation will be in class, but your documentation needs to be earlier. Okay, I still have 1 minute left. Questions, please tell me if you have any questions. Open your microphones. If not question, the class will be over in 1 minute. Then I will transmit to you all the necessary documentation so you can have it there on the WhatsApp. And later on, I will like rewind everything and put it in virtual class. Then I will text to you in order for you to write down your names, your last names and your ID numbers for the presence in today's class. Any questions so far? Okay. I thank you so much for coming today, for your attention. I hope that you could have all the necessary time to prepare all the things that we are going through. We are going into the last part, so be brave. See you, my kids.